All right, guys, happy Friday, April 26th, coming to you full of energy, full of gratitude, and really, really excited. Last night, we got to attend one of our friends in the industry, their event. They're launching a commercial division. And the reason I want to mention it is because they were born, I like to say they were born, their team was born literally at the same time our team was born. And to watch how they've grown, watch how we've grown, it's really been an incredible journey, you guys. And just to take a look back at this, we started this company in January of 2020. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We didn't know what we were doing. We just knew that we wanted to really make a movement in the real estate industry. And when we look back now, like this whole entire, company and the rhythm and the flow and the departments, like this was all built in just, 4 years, you guys. So it's never too late to start building. It might be the second phase of your growth, third phase of your growth. Heck, this might be the fifth time that you're going about it. But at the end of the day, it's never too late. Here I am at 44 years old. I am a testament of what's possible. And I feel like I'm literally not even hitting that full stride, but it's important to just look around. Like there's people that had a vision that catapulted that vision, put a great team of people around them to really amplify that. And it's been amazing to see. And so I love watching our partners in the industry who came from the same streets we came from that are doing big things. And so it's really, really cool to see. So I wanted to share that thought with you guys. I'm going to go over to Michael Swanson. Michael Swanson's camera. Listen, you guys, cameras on today. There's not too many. Listen, we have guests on the line today. There's people that are driving that got their cameras on. If you have the ability to be here, be present, be conscious, and be in this moment, please be in this moment. Put your cameras on. I want to push you. I want to implore you. How you show up here is how we show up everywhere. I have no requirements to have your camera on, but I do ask you guys to show up the way that your team members will show up for you. So put your cameras on, be here, be in the moment. But I'm going to go to Michael Swanson. Michael Swanson, I'm going to have you bring us out on the field on this beautiful, beautiful Friday morning. Let's go.
All right, it's Friday, y'all. Don't slow. It's the end of the week, but don't slow down. Let's finish the week off fast, going to our weekends. So people got open houses and showings scheduled. So just keep working hard, keep pushing. Let's start the day great. Let's end the day great and step into your greatness.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I appreciate that. So you guys, I want you to just take a moment to really, really reflect within your own household. By show of hands, or if you have an emoji, please share with me if you have children. Please just give me a hand or give me an emoji if you have children. So something powerful happened last night. And first off, this goes for everybody. You don't have to have children to do this. There's something you can buy online right now, and you can get it from Amazon, and it's called Table Topics. Now, Table Topics is just a series of cards that you pull out, and it has really, really cool conversation starters. And so it asks questions about the world, about politics, about music, about where you'd like to travel, so on and so forth. It's just a really cool exercise. Well, my daughter pulls one out last night, and she's 13 years old. Or, excuse me, the night before. She's 13 years old. And her story is inspirational because she was born at 1 pound. If you've heard the story of Michaela, she was born at 1 pound, born 24 weeks. She's had over 20 surgeries. She was trached her whole life, had to eat through a G tube, like this little miracle baby. And so she's an inspiration to us. And my hope is that when you hear about her, she's an inspiration to you. And here she is, 13 years old and just a sassy, normal teenager. Well, she pulls out one of the cards, and the card said, "Whose life inspires you?" Right. And here she is, 13 years old. And we asked her, "Well, whose life inspires you? Go ahead, kiddo." And she said, "Yours, Choo Choo E." And then she calls me Choo Choo E for, short for Elias. And like in that moment, I got super, super emotional because what we do and how we show up in this world, so many people are watching you, especially if you're creating content and you guys are exposing yourself to the world. People are looking to you and saying, "Wow, that's a really inspirational story, Natalie. That's a really inspirational story, Janice." But then in your own household, the people around you are looking at you like, "Wow, look at what mom's doing. Look at what mom sacrificed. Look at what dad was able to do. Look how dad showed up for us. Look at how dad's inspiring the world. Look at his videos. Oh man, this is so much fun." Like, know that you all, despite your level of production, have an opportunity right now to influence because you're an influential person. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go get 1 million followers. That's not the type of influence I'm referring to. The type of influence is that how you're making other people feel in your life. And it was a great opportunity for me to just be like, "Wow, kiddo, like, thanks." Like I just said thanks, and it like made me emotional. I gave her a big old hug, and mom was like, "Oh my God, it was the sweetest thing." So the message today, as we start out, is just know how inspiring you are to other people. And even if my daughter doesn't say, "Hey, you're inspiring," She never has told me that. The people that are watching your videos might not tell you, hey, you're inspiring, but they may be watching, and they may be watching silently until one day they show up and say, you know what? I've been watching your stuff for a while, Samantha. It's been really inspirational. I love watching you grow. I love seeing you help your consumers. We're actually ready to buy or sell now, and we wanted to call you. So know that your visibility matters more than you can ever think of, because there's so many people out there in the world that are watching. So that's my message for today. It made me super emotional, so I want to share that thought with you guys. She is an inspiration to me, and she will continue to be an inspiration to me. So I want to share that with you guys. But wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. I want to do some live coaching here. I want to do some true group coaching in this setting here. If you can identify one challenge that you're facing right now, before we get into any of the action for the week, and thank you, Mark, I appreciate it, and thank you for all the other comments as well. I want to ask you guys, what's one challenge that you're facing right now? If you were to throw it out here, let's just say we're throwing it out on the table right now. I want to hear from my brothers and sisters. I want to see if there's anybody that has some advice for me based on current challenges that I'm facing right now, whether it's branding, social media, marketing, dialogue, whatever that looks like, sounds like, feels like. Is there any challenges anybody on the call would like to throw out on the table right now? Then let's have a quick roundtable discussion, because I promise you this. And we talked about this yesterday at Synergy. When you are in a collective, and when you throw your challenges out, or when you throw an idea out, or a potential problem, whatever it is, what you'll find that you'll get variables, and you'll get different people's vantage points that you have never seen before. So I want to start the conversation out very, very easy with a challenge. Does somebody have a challenge right now that they want to discuss, unpack, and maybe we can work through that challenge right now here live on group coaching? All right, Jessica Hernandez, Segura Hernandez, I apologize. Let's go to you. Let's go.
Good morning. The challenge that I'm facing right now is posting on social media. So I used to be consistent with my videos, and right now I feel like I got busier. So it's difficult finding the time to record. And then I also ran out of ideas. So I have creator's block right now. I keep thinking of what to post, and then I get busy, and I just feel like I'm all over the place. So maybe just finding some time or a day to record. Yeah, that's my.
All right, cool. And please raise your hand if that's ever been a challenge of yours or a current challenge of yours. I get it. I totally understand. Let me ask you a couple questions here. Number one, how much time, if you can equate this to hours every single week, how much time are you reading? I don't care what it is, fiction, nonfiction, if it's headlines, news, whatever it is. How much time a week are you spending reading?
Like 30 minutes to an hour.
30 minutes to an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what type of reading is that? Yeah, let's go a little further on. What type of reading is it? What do you like to read?
Well, I haven't been reading books, but reading in terms of like my emails that I receive, like real estate news, but I haven't even picked up one of my books. I feel like I've been so busy, I haven't picked up a book.
Yeah. I feel that that's important, that you spend some time reading. Obviously, put that in your calendar, spend some time reading, but also if you're at a block of what to create that is organic thought, then I would jack something. And what I mean by that is just there's tons of great articles out there right now, whether it's from Inman or whether it's from, one of the news articles that you subscribe to in real estate. If you haven't done this in a while, and let's just take a quick look. I'm going to go back through some of your videos really quick. I won't pull it up, but I will pull it up on my end really quick. So Jessica Segura Hernandez. All right, cool. So I think you have an opportunity here. So let's go here. And this goes for everybody on the call. We will do a quick exercise here. So most of the videos that she's been doing, so for instance here, 20% in down payment. What's cool is that you have an opportunity right now. What I mean is that you have an opportunity to take an article, to take a publication, to take a release that was just created in the last week or so, and just have that on the green screen. Hey guys, I saw this article yesterday. I want to give you my thoughts and opinion on this. Here's what I think. Here's what my thoughts are. Here's how I feel about this. What's your thoughts and what's your opinion on this recent article? It's literally that simple. So when you're at a block, when you don't know exactly what to create, I'm going to go to John Gletch because I saw one yesterday. That was a really good one. So when you're at a block of what to actually organically create, then go and create something that was already created for you, right? So it says here, did you buy a home with high interest rates and intend to refinance later? Well, even that headline, which I didn't create, in itself is a pretty good hook, right? Hey guys, did you buy a home with a high interest rate and intend to refinance later? Did someone tell you to date the rate and buy the home? Well, I'm going to share an opinion with you based on this recent article that I saw. Let's go. So my point is here, Jessica, when you find yourself in a lull or you don't know exactly what to post, then take information that has already been created for you. I call it the newsjacking, and then do that in your own words. And let's take a look at one of the top real estate coaches in the game right now. If I'm looking back over the last few weeks, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, you get the point. 12 of Jared James's recent videos are all articles that he didn't write. All he's doing is giving his commentary. And what's great about this, Jessica, is now you leave space and you allow room for your opinion, right? And whether your opinion is received from others, it doesn't matter because it's yours, right? Hey guys, this article today, I thought it was absolutely bullshit, but here's how the article went. Well, that's just your opinion. What are your thoughts? And now you create engagement, but like, ooh, I didn't like that article. Oh, thanks for the clarity. Ooh, that's a good way to think about that. Great stuff. And then what you'll find is that you didn't even create that. All you did was give commentary like a newscaster because you might have been at a low of like organic thought. And then that gets you back in the swing of things. That personally would be my advice, but I'd love to hear from other creators or people on the call today that might have some other advice. And anybody have any other advice for Jessica? And Jessica, is that helpful?
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Okay, I know Christina had her hand up. Let's get some insight from you, Christina, and then Michael, you'll be on deck, and then Cynthia, you'll be right after Michael. So let's go, Christina.
Hey, Jessica. Yeah, that honestly, I go through those funks too, where I'm like, okay, I'll be on a roll every couple of days. I'm putting good content out. And then I get stuck where I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I've already talked about this. I don't want to keep talking about it. So I'll go on to, I'll go on the explore page and I'll look at other lenders and I'll get ideas of what they did. Because it's okay to recreate someone else's content and make it your own. And I know they could be in like Arizona, New York, whatever. And I'm like, and I'll look at their content. I'm like, oh, I like that. And everybody is so different where you can add your own little unique twist where it's not really copying. You're just recreating it as your own, where your market here in California, Bay Area, has never seen it. You know what I mean? So I would say definitely look at other realtors, other areas, see what they're doing and make it your own.
Okay, thank you.
You see these like national that talk about the market at large. We know that that is not market specific, meaning that it's not applicable to a microclimate, which the San Francisco Bay Area is a microclimate. The only other markets that are similar to ours in the United States would be probably like Manhattan or like downtown Los Angeles, but San Francisco Bay Area, it is a micro economy in itself. And so like when you see these national headlines, it's like you're able to almost debunk those things. And sometimes, Jessica, if you don't know what to say, then don't say shit, right? You can either jack something that was created for you or don't say shit, right? Like this video here is just a reel that I created this morning because I have these things that we've been talking about. I'm like, well, sure, let me just share that. My hope by the end of the day that this is shared over 30 times and I didn't say a fucking single word. Right. So it's just like you have some thoughts and ideas or how to be an entrepreneur and a mom. Here's 5 things that I do. You put that on the screen. Those things land as well. So 2 bits of advice here. Newsjack, commentate on articles that are already created for you, or do a cool words on screen advice quote, something like that, because those things seem to land as well. So hopefully that's helpful, Jessica. Cool. Awesome. Let's go. Michael Swanson, challenge, or was it yours a contribution to Jessica?
Actually, I'm good. My challenge was the same challenge that Jessica's having, just that creator's block. So you guys just help me out too.
Okay. All right. Cool. We'll go Cynthia Jackson and then Zoom user Sierra. She'll be next. So let's go Cynthia Jackson.
Good morning. Wow, I have lots of challenges, but the one I'm going to start on, I think Christina will be able to help me with this. And I say that because I used to I used to prospect for loans. And so I have a clear understanding of what that is and what it took. And I was very successful at it. And I'm struggling with how that applies here. I would get a farm list and go at it, and then it would just get done. And so I don't know where to find that. I don't know where, even I don't know where it exists here. And so I think that some of that will be taken care of in my meeting after this one, with the onboarding with the agents. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking to do at this point, because I think that for me, social media, I mean, that's all good and I'm ready for it eventually, but I'm not ready right now. And I don't know, maybe we can work on that, Elias.
Yeah.
But this is where I am.
Well, definitely.
But,
Here's the thing. You have to think about ROI. So Cynthia, based on what you've told me, what's important to you, who you are as a person, what you've gone through as a mom and as a woman, all those things should be part of the story that you're telling on social media. So instead of trying to think of, oh my God, how do I show up on social media? You literally lean into all those things that you've told me, which make up this beautiful person and beautiful story. And so I don't overthink social media. This is an opportunity for you. And it's one of the highest ROIs. You spend no money, a little bit of time, and you potentially build your business by doing it organically. Now, I'll go to Christina in a second, but I'm going to chime in on this one. The same style, the same idea of making cold calls before, it is the same hurdle, right? I'm calling a stranger. They don't want to talk to me. Oh my God, it's a little fearful, right? Well, as long as you have a great opener, you have great dialogue, you ask great questions, and you're not fearful of that rejection, it's part of the game, right? We're salespeople. It's part of the game. We have to be able to make phone calls. So one thing you could do right now, say you're hosting an open house, or say there's a just sold in the neighborhood. You can contact title and ask them to pull a circle prospecting list in that neighborhood. They can pull 100 homes, 200 homes, so on and so forth. Then you get that report, and I'll give you a list, or excuse me, a service where you dump that list into a DNC, scrubs it for all the people that are on the DNC, and then you call, right? And now, the heck do you say? And we could talk about that in a moment. But yeah, I think that if you've already had that intestinal fortitude to make phone calls, it's the same thing. It's the same gene. It's the same exact gene. Let's go to Christina. Obviously, she wanted to hear your insights on this, but let's hear from you.
Yeah, I would say definitely it's similar to providing value. When you were prospecting as a loan officer and you were looking to generate that business, you couldn't just be like, hey, I'm a loan officer, I want your business, let's work together, right? Because they would look at you and be like, who are you? What is it all about? So I think it's going back and explaining who you are, what type of value you bring to the table. You bring huge value having that loan experience behind you. So I think talking about that type of experience, another side of the business as going into a newer agent. Not a lot of people know the loan side, and it can be really complex. So I think providing that value and also reaching back also to your clients that you were either refied, purchased, letting them know also that now you're a real estate agent. And that's a whole other, you have that book of business that don't forget about them. You can go back to them and letting them know that now you have this additional value you can provide to them.
okay, thank you.
So Cynthia, let me just I'll get to Cynthia, or excuse me, I'll get to Sierra and Jeff. If you were to call a consumer, who are you thinking about calling? Like what style? Is it a seller? Is it a buyer? Is it someone for an open house? Let's categorize this first off.
For right now, it would be a buyer.
A buyer. What type of buyer?
You mean type of buyer for a home?
No, like is it a first-time home buyer? Is it a
first time? Yeah, because I feel like a first-time home buyer, I could probably more relate, because it's almost in my mind the same as initiating a loan. So it's an initiation. It's helping them to understand the process, and so that's what I'm thinking about.
So there's no list that exists right now for you to call first-time home buyers. There's no list.
I guess I suppose that, right? So I guess
so let's dismantle that. But here's the list. There is tons of areas where you live, particularly in let's say the Hercules area. Okay. There's tons of renters in that area that may need to hear from somebody like you to help them understand what it takes or the pathway to become a homeowner in the Bay Area. So here you are just educating all the renters. We've had this conversation in the past, and you may not have been on that call. It's called the No Renter Left Behind movement, right? Hey, I'm just contacting all the renters in the area. I know that you're renting in this area. It's typically about $3,000 a month for rent. I don't know if anybody's educated you on what it takes to become a homeowner or what that pathway looks like. Well, no. Well, wonderful. I'm Cynthia. If you ever have any questions, here's my information. Here's a QR code. Let's set up a time to talk so I can at least educate you on those steps if that is a goal for you and your family. Have a great day. Go to the neighbor's house. So now you create a list based on doing the groundwork, and the groundwork means that you have to go out there, get that list of renters, and you start knocking on their doors. That's how you'll find that list.
That's amazing. That's something I could do like as soon as I get off this call. No, seriously, because it's something that I can, it's something that's familiar, which I think is a good place for me to start, so that I can have some movement, and then I can, once I get that movement, get something going, then I feel like I can step back a little bit and then get into so much of the other stuff while challenging myself to start creating some content for social media.
Totally. And here's what I would do is I would put your hand up and I would go into Slack. And for the people that aren't on our team, we use Slack as an internal communication platform. Raise your hand for an open house. The moment that you have an open house is when you can now pull a circle prospecting list. And now, just like you would knock on the door, you're calling all the neighbors, letting them know that they're having an open house in the neighborhood. We'd love to invite you out. If you know anybody that wants to live in this community, you're having a conversation. So get yourself an open house. Door knock as well as call. It's a great opportunity for you. But good stuff, Cynthia. Hopefully you found any of this helpful.
Well, so fortunately for me, I pulled down the something. I'm just everywhere finding stuff, and it's all kind of happening in real time organically, and I'm loving it because you mentioned door knocking. I have the booklet on door knocking, and I'm practicing that right here in my neighborhood. People that I know, I'm just knocking on the door saying, hey, finally I got my license, because they know I've been working on it. And I just want to, talk to you about what's happening, what's going on with your property, just real conversations with people. So, and then I get to add that to my list. So
That's right. That's right.
There we have it. Yes.
Samantha, you had asked a question in the chat. Who do you contact for a circle prospecting list? Contact your title representative in your neighborhood if you need or in your area. If you need a recommendation, I have a great recommendation for you. Let's go, Jeff, and then we'll go Sierra, and then Lisa, you'll be on deck. Let's go, Jeff.
Just to kind of tag on to what Christina was saying, and I picked this up, of course, from you when we were just talking about it, but every interaction you have is an opportunity for a presentation. So just be, when you're out there, when you're talking to people, it could be professional, of course, in your case, Cynthia, but it also can be personal. But every interaction is an opportunity for a presentation. And I wasn't taking that mindset into a lot of the calls that I was making previously. I was taking a prospecting, frame of mind. But it is a presentation when you, call somebody, be it if you're calling on an open house, you're calling, maybe some non-owner stuff, whatever, door knocking, but it's always a presentation. So that's where I kind of changed my mindset in terms of the how I approached the conversations. And I don't know, yesterday I made some calls and seemed to work well for me because I just, again, approached it from a different mindset and going into the call.
Love it. I love it. Let's go to Sierra. Sierra, we'll go to you. Yeah, appreciate your contribution, Jeff. Let's go Sierra, and then Lisa Torres, you are on deck.
Good morning, you guys. So one of my challenges is for myself is I want a higher conversion rate after open houses. So I try a lot of different things. I try video after the open house, text right after. At the open house, we're besties. And then after the open house, I'm not hearing from you again. And I really want to stay besties and make sure that that communication that we had at the open house is followed through, over the next few weeks. So any tips or advice for conversion after the open house or during the open house I would love that.
Wow, I personally, I love this transparency of this conversation. Sierra, maybe the goal here is not to be their bestie, and just stay with me. You want to be their friend, but you don't want to be their best friend. And there needs to be a separation of seeing you as this best friend and this jovial spirit that you are to somebody of an authoritative expert level, right? Like, it's good to have that bond and connection with people, but we don't want to make best friends that initial call. We want them to know that you have something that they don't have, which is knowledge, expertise, and off-market opportunities. And I'm not too sure if that's happening, but maybe the follow-up is because something is happening that they feel too close to you, or maybe that's too friendly. I don't know. I'm curious to see when you say besties, like what type of dialogue are you having with those people?
Okay, I was kind of joking a little bit, Elias. But what I'm saying is that
I get that because you're such an easy person to connect with. Very easy to connect with. So talk to me a little bit about that dialogue at the open houses.
so I've been door knocking a lot, so I really have a lot of knowledge about the neighborhood. That seems to help a lot. I know the neighbors. I mean, they come over for the open house afterwards. I can talk to people about the neighbors. This is actually one of the reasons why I'm in contract right now, is because the open house that Tim and I hosted, we were so confident about the neighborhood and the neighbors, we were able to express that to somebody who came into the open house. So I think that that's really been beneficial, just knowing the neighbors in the neighborhood. And then of course, knowing about the house, knowing disclosures, it seems to be helpful too. If I have my computer up, then that way I can kind of, research some things for people if they need some extra information. And then just educating people, like you said, about the market. A lot of people do have agents or say they have agents. And, I try to be upfront about that. And then also make sure that, like you said, asking for the agent's name. And yeah, I mean, I think like there's kind of this conflict where people are frustrated maybe with their agent or maybe with the market. And that's where I feel like I have an opportunity. So if they're frustrated with their agent, they're not getting their offers won, that's where I kind of step in and I'm like, hey, we've got this off-market list right here. Let's talk about this. Let's see how we can get your offer accepted. And then the conversation is really great, I guess, is what my point is that they're engaging. They are excited about the knowledge of the information that I'm able to give. But then, there might be only so much I can do, but I really want to just make sure that my game after the open house, because I do feel like during the open house, it's pretty legit. It's like afterwards, how am I following up to make sure that I'm able to engage them more, I guess is my point. So, and maybe there is something I'm doing in the open house that's, that is wrong. I'm not sure. I do feel like it's pretty good though, but I'm always open to learning more and I want to. So I've hosted with a lot of people on this team and I would love for any of them to give me feedback while we're hosting, if there's something that I'm doing that could be better.
Yeah, I love this. And I'm actually I want to go over to Chris B because he's been in this business for so long. I think he does a really, really good at open houses. But I want to ask you a couple of qualifying questions here. Sierra, if you think about your dialogue and the communication that you're having at the open houses, how often are you asking for the appointment at the open house for a buyer's consultation or for the next stage of the communication? Are you asking for the appointment at the open house?
So this is something that I've actually been discussing a lot, is that I feel like the close should actually happen at the open house, that closing after, like, through phone call or through text is not as efficient as actually setting that appointment during the open house. So I have tried. It can be challenging, especially if the open house is busy. Actually, it's a little bit easier if it's slow. But I think I've asked for it at least like 3 or 4 times. Hey, it sounds like you guys could really use an idea of what your home would rent for or what the value of your home is so you can make a better decision moving forward. And, when's a good time for us to sit down and do that? Or oh, you're at the beginning of your buying process. You know, we love to sit down with you and talk about, educate you on the buying process. It's a little bit hard to nail people down. They don't necessarily want to, but I want to push that a little bit more than I have been, I guess is my point. Like, I really want to try to seal the deal at the open house.
Yeah, totally. I love this conversation because I think this is something we could all learn from. I want to ask everybody a quick question. I'm gonna go to Chris B in a second. When I ask you this question, let me know what you think. By a show of hands, on this call, how many people would say that you are open-minded? Please raise your hand if you feel like you're open-minded. But what's the alternative to that question? Go ahead and take yourself. You're closed-minded. So nobody wants to be viewed as closed-minded. And Sierra, let me ask you a quick question. Who's the person in your corner right now that is educating you on everything that you need to know about the current market and the strategies that it takes to get your offer accepted in this market right now? Who's that person, Sierra?
Who's that person?
No,
I don't know if there's.
That would be you asking the consumer. This is kind of a role play session. You're like, hold on. Stay with me.
Okay, we're role playing.
Yeah, and then here's a good way to think about it too. So they're open-minded. You've obviously got them to say that they're open-minded. You've identified who that person or who that person is not. That's educating them on everything they need to know about the settlement and the strategies that it takes to get an offer accepted in today's competitive market. Who's that person that's educating you right now? Okay, Sierra, would it be crazy? Would it be crazy for me to want to get together with you for 30 minutes to have that conversation with you? Whether or not you choose me as your realtor, at least you'll look at me as a person that educating you as an advocate for your journey. I have some time after the open house today at 3 o'clock, as well as tomorrow at 4 o'clock. What would be a better time for you guys? That way we can connect after the commotion of the open house. So if we go for the close more and more, what happened is that you'll get more and more appointments. And I think that you do a great job at building rapport. Now you do that. Rapport is the discovery. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly, Sierra. Okay, cool. Would it be crazy? Or who is that person? Both of those are really, really good lead-ins to lead you to a potential appointment. I think that booking for the next phase at the actual appointment or at the actual open house, that's where you're going to have high conversion numbers. People that are able to book an appointment right there, have their calendar out, ready to go, book that appointment, that works at a very high level. Let's go to Chris B. I want to get your insight thoughts on this big dog conversion from an open house. Any advice or tips for Sierra that she's challenged with right now?
Basically, once I find a prospect that actually engages with me, and I got a feeling that they want to learn more about the market, and they're open to talking, that's when I kind of go all in and start telling stories about my current escrows, the current buyers that I got into escrow, the challenges, how we overcame them challenges. So pretty much it's facts tell, stories sell. I let them know what's going on with what I'm doing recently and how that I got my buyer into a property, and I just give them a brief gist of A to Z, how they have. And it's like stories and then educating them on the local market. Of course, when I do an open house in the area, I make sure I get all the stats ready and know the area from the schools, the parks, the crime rate, all that good stuff, and the benefits. So I just made that connection, start telling stories, give examples, and then after I do all that and I feel like they're engaged and they have that twinkle in their eye, so I'm like, let's meet up, and I want you to get to know me a little more. So I want you to be confident who you're going to work with, and then let's do a buyer's consultation and meet up for coffee. So I just really engage as much as possible and give examples of successes that I've done recently, in order to just build that rapport and confidence, and hopefully go in for the close.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And Sierra's already conscious of that, right? Like going in for the close then. But Sierra, now that you have a little bit more ethos, meaning a little bit more credibility, because now you've put clients into contract, a great way to think about that is that this is not ready for mass consumption, so please don't share this on social just yet. So what we're doing is we're creating some case studies for you guys. And, if you're not on the team, you guys can create this on your own. But let's just take a quick look at this, right? Offer accepted, beat out 5 offers, negotiated $10,000 in seller concession, closed within only 14 days. You know what, Tom? You actually remind me of one of my clients that I just helped. I was able to beat out 5 offers. We were able to negotiate $10,000 in seller concessions, which they then used to buy down the rate for the first 2 years. And we also were able to close in 14 days because we work with a badass lender named Christina Nunes at the Money Store. But nonetheless, I would love to share that story with you and share that strategy with you. So I'm setting up calls after this open house to go further into that strategy and see how it applies to your guys' journey. So now that you have something that you can use in this style, in this form, I would use your case studies and your own experiences. And I couldn't agree with Chris more that those stories are what's going to ultimately sell and leverage those third party stories. So, Sierra, hopefully you took one thing.
Also,
Go ahead.
no, also I always come from a teacher standpoint instead of a salesman standpoint. So I always focus on educating them, and I let them know that we're in a wonky time in this economic era right now. I know you hear a lot of negative news, and I know a lot of people are scared to make that personal step, but let's not focus on it. Let's focus on how we can get you empowered. Let's focus on what people are doing to get empowered during the down economic climates. And I'm a realist. I don't paint like these. A lot of agents paint this rosy picture like it's all freaking sunshine and rainbows and shit. It's not. And you need to be real with them and let them know that there's going to be challenges. But if we have a game plan, a proven strategy, and with me by your side, I'll make sure that I'll empower your family and make sure you get into that property you want and get the best deal possible in this market. And then they start talking about rates, I'll counteract that, and I'm just counteract all the negative news and just come from the heart and just come from a teacher standpoint. I'm trying to teach them and educate them. I don't want them to move forward with me unless they feel totally confident, educated in what they're doing the next step. If you can do that up front, it's going to be a smoother process, and they're going to be controlled, and they're going to listen to you and smoother escrows. So,
Yeah,
teacher, not salesman.
I love it. I love it. Great stuff. So, Sierra, hopefully you took one thing out of that. For the people on the call, and Janice put this in, I really appreciate you putting this in the chat. What if you don't have stories? And I couldn't agree with Ramel enough. For the people that are actually on the team and within your own brokerage, go to your team meetings, listen to the stories that your team is sharing about their new escrows, right? If there was a story about somebody that purchased a home in Millsmont and they got $30,000 over or under list price and seller concessions, God, I've been hearing so many great stories within our team. And one of the stories that stands out was recently, Nicole was able to one of my team members, Nicole, put a client in contract, was able to save him $20,000. And a lot of that comes from the leverage and the relationship that we have in the real estate community. Also, our opportunities to offer an off-market catalog that not many brokerages offer because of the size of who we are. So I'd love to go further in detail about that. So if you don't have stories, don't make them up. Leverage the team and your brokerage's stories. So really good stuff. I appreciate your contributions on that, Ramel. Thank you for the question, Janice. Drive safely, Janice. Let's go to Lisa Torres, and then Nicole Penland, you will be on deck. Let's go, Lisa.
Good morning, guys. So just to respond to Sierra, you've been doing a phenomenal job. I had the greatest open house with you, and you did establish amazing rapport with Chris. Chris has been very engaging, and I think you need to be a little bit easier on yourself, honestly, because you have been killing it. You were so confident in every conversation that you've had when we did our open house together. You blew me away. I was really shocked at how well you spoke to each person coming in and how confident you were. So I think maybe asking for the close at the open house and setting the appointment. But I think you're on target, and we're not going to get every single person. And I think you just got to remember that you're doing a great job, and you've got a lot of people in queue. So don't be so hard on yourself. And then for Cynthia, I use an app called Chicago Titles Walking Farm, and it's amazing because you could literally draw your area, and it will pull up pull up a property profile for every single house, and it's called the walking farm because it will literally give you the information for the owner door to door, and you're not like zigzagging, like if it's printed out in numerical order. And it also lets you know if it's owner occupied, non-owner occupied, and it also gives you the turnover rate. So great information to have to kind of focus in on areas that you might have more success with the conversion. So just a couple ideas. And my greatest challenge is too many ideas and not implementing fast enough. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Okay. And I love that. God, I love that. Like speed to execution, speed to implementation, you guys. And listen, some of the stuff won't land, some of it won't be right, some of it will not be perfect, and that's okay. Like take an idea and literally execute it as fast as you possibly can. Anytime that Kenny and I go to a mastermind, we go to an event, we go to a speaker, whatever we're going to go to, while we're sitting there, we are communicating with the other members of senior leadership. So it's me, Molly, Kenny, and Karina, always in a group chat. We're directly saying, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do this. Hey, put this in motion. Hey, let's create this in Monday. Instantly on the spot. Him and I are going back and forth with ideas and implementation. Close that gap as quick as you possibly can. And you guys, I spent a lot of time back to the asking for the close. So I spent a lot of time listening to calls and the Zillow calls that come in. So if you look here in category G, these are all conversations that agents on our team are having. And this is, important for me to share with you guys because I listened to a call yesterday, 13 minutes. I listened to another call that was 17 minutes, and I listened to a call for 27 minutes. So much great rapport, so much dialogue, so much great information about the consumer, where they're going, so on and so forth. But I didn't hear, here's what we do next. I want to set up a time for us to meet, and they didn't ask for that actual appointment. So like the close is something that is also an art form, just like the relationship building. But you take all that relationship, the discovery, you discovery confirmation to make sure that you understood them and that you heard everything and you didn't miss anything. And then you go to the logical conclusion, AKA the close, which tells them what the next steps are. You're not alone, Sierra, and nobody else is alone on this call, because I hear it from some of the top agents on the team, and I'm still hearing nuances of not asking for the close, because that's when it gets scary. That's when it gets scary, because now you're like, oh my God, I'm going to push a little bit for a close, and what's going to happen? And so you guys, it's just a logical conclusion to this amazing dance that you've already done with them, and you set yourself up for success for that next step. So really good stuff. Nicole Penland, let's go to you rapid fire, and then we're going to move on from this conversation.
Okay, quick question. Did you make up that example you just used my name, or you knew about that?
Which example?
About getting in the contract and selling and saving the buyer $20,000.
I had no idea. No, I was just making up a story.
Okay, me and Michelle just got in the contract and we got our buyer $20,000 concession.
Cool, perfect.
I was like, you knew that?
I'll get it on the tracker as soon as it's on the tracker, but let's go. Let's hear from you.
I was going to say, just as far as the flow for open house, one thing that I've found is to already have like a streamline. So when I go in and when I'm having the conversations, one of the things I want to make sure, aside from seeing if they already have an agent, is to see if they've already been pre-approved. And a lot of times I find open houses, people are just coming in, peeking around. Sometimes they're already pre-approved, but sometimes they're not. So immediately when I get home, I'll do an introductory email to them and my lender to help get that started, so that we can tag team the process and move them down the funnel.
Okay, good. I love this. So you guys, really good conversation, and I love this kind of like live coaching. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, never will. Just had a really big lab, and so I've heard a lot, I've learned a lot, and I study a lot. And so I think this conversation is very helpful. Let's go one more time back to Cynthia Jackson, and then we're going to shift gears.
Okay, I just wanted to piggyback off what Nicole just said, which is why I even started on the path to real estate sales, because I was an agent that would sit in on open houses and get people pre-qualified. So it just all kind of lines up together. yeah, that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, I love it. And we had somebody like Sierra, the reason why she's doing so well is I believe that she makes people feel something, right? And you know, if we're thinking about like Maya Angelou, people aren't going to remember what you said, they're going to remember how you feel. So what you do is you take that great way of making people feel connected to you, and then you tie it into the close and the logical conclusion, which is the next steps. And so you leverage that, and that's the part of the science that you're still learning. And for a lot of us, we're still learning that. We know how to talk, we know how to open up to people, and even if that's a challenge, and you got to work on that as well. But for the most part, we know how to have really good dialogue. We communicate well, we have great questions, and now we tie all that in to a close. And so you're still learning the formula and learning the process, and it just takes time. But yeah, like Lisa was saying, give yourself some grace, but be conscious of that. Every person you talk to, ask yourself, did I even ask for the appointment? Or did I allow myself to put them into the follow-up category? Because, hey, you have a 50-50 chance of getting an appointment if you ask. I personally like those odds for you. I like those odds for you. Let's go one more time to Nicole, and then we will, I'm going to go to a few other people.
I was just gonna give some more kudos to Sierra. She's out here doing it. I see her in my farm doing events, in my newsletters.
I like that. There could be two queens in one neighborhood. I like that. All right, let's go over Romel. Romel, you had something in the chat. I want to make sure to give you some mic time. Let's go, Romel.
I just wanted to introduce a guest that's on, Kuhan. We are in a group together, networking group together, and wanted to introduce her to our environment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, we had an opportunity to quickly meet before the session started. Tell us where you're at right now in your real estate journey, what brokerage you're at, and thanks for being here.
I'm with Keller William in Bowling office.
Okay.
I started actually like earlier this year, so I'm super new. So I'm trying to absorb all the knowledge, all the things from seasoned agent. So yeah, I'm so glad to be joining this meeting this morning. Thank you, Ramon, for introducing me to your amazing team.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for being here. My hope is that any guests that we have on this call, my hope is that you take one thing from the call. Literally. If there's more than that, then good. But my hope is that you take one thing from this. So you guys, we have a few minutes left. I want to hear from you. Has anybody, obviously Nicole Penland, shout out to her. She took massive action. You see the results, heard the results. Has anybody else had some results from the massive action that they've taken in this week? Whether it was appointments, whether they made a video that got some really good responses, they got some engagement, they got an appointment. Does anybody have any testimonials about action that they took this week that led to positive results in their business that they want to share? Because I want everyone to hear this, because it's important, because we're all on the same exact journey. We just might be at different spots on the timeline. Anybody want to share any action that they took this week?
Yes, me.
All right, let's go, Sammy.
So, I never really networked to realtors because I never had to, if I had, just friends. So yesterday I'm driving by my house and I see one of my neighbors, like 9 houses down, I see somebody putting a listing sign. And I'm like, what the heck? So I rolled down my window and I'm like, hey, are you listing that house? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so what is it going for? Like, what's the story? I know the owner, but I'm not going to tell him. So long story short, it was a mess. Sheriffs had to come get him out. My investor bought this. It was an auction. And he's like, I'm not from this area, but, we started talking. I gave him my number. I was like, well, I live down the street in case of anything. And he's like, well, can you do my open house? I'm like, yeah, of course. And then he calls me. He's like, hey, you speak Spanish and I don't know anybody out there. And lately I've been getting a lot of Latinos. And I'm like, okay. He's like, would you want to split a deal? He's like, I can cut you a little bit because I'm literally just giving you the buyer and we can go 1.5. He's like, and I have 3 more listings in Manteca. I'm like, wow. Okay. So I got a new partner, I guess. Yes. So we're going to be meeting and just kind of discuss all of that and see how I can better help him too. Because he's like, I don't care for that area. He's from Upper Sacramento, Yuba City area. He's like, but I don't want to let go of this investor.
I love that. You guys get in the habit of rolling your window down. is when you're driving through a neighborhood, you see construction, you see people bringing in lumber, you know something's going on. You roll down that window. Hi, are you guys moving? Are you guys moving in? Are you guys remodeling? Like, that's literally how I got my very first listing in this business. I had literally just got my real estate license and I just rolled down my window, asked that question, and I was able to get an appointment. So I absolutely love that, Sammy, because you see it in your neighborhood. I promise you, if you're conscious of this today, you'll see something happen in your neighborhood. All you have to do is roll down the window and ask. You see people working, get out of the car and ask and see what's going on. Find out what the information is, and then leverage that information. So good stuff, Sammy. I love it. Let's go, Khalid.
Good morning, everybody. I've been calling on my notary book. I used to do a lot of reverse mortgages, and I've been setting up. I have like 3 upcoming appointments, and I think that has been a good success for me because it's, these are the people I already have met. I have spent time with them, so they already have a rapport built with me. And also going back to Sam, you said you work in Yuba City?
No, I do not. The realtor does. He
Because,
just had my business
because
out
I
here.
have a listing coming up in Yuba City too, so that's what I was asking.
Okay.
Oh, well, see,
I'm not far from Yuba.
Okay, good.
You can always send me the address and I can send it to him. You know.
I can send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Was there someone else that's not far from Yuba? Did I hear someone else take themselves off of mute? Okay.
Me,
Who's me?
Lisa.
Yeah, so Kaleem, Lisa is not far from Yuba, so maybe you guys can connect offline.
Awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful thing about group coaching as well. So you guys, we're heading into the weekend. Whether or not you have an open house, that's, my hope is that you all have open houses. But you also have to go after the open houses. You see, you're not always going to have all the answers. And I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. You're not always going to have all of the answers, but you literally just have to start running. And then what happens is that you're going to start figuring some things out. I promise you guys. But you cannot wait to know everything, because if you wait to know everything, this business will pass you by. There's so much to know. There's so many variables, but do what we brought you on this team to do. Communicate with people, connect with people. And by doing that, you'll learn what works and what doesn't work. And I promise you, you're going to do a buyer's consultation where it feels clunky. It felt like shit. You didn't have rhythm. You didn't have flow. But I promise you, your next one will be significantly better. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop being cerebral. Stop staying in your head and trying to figure everything out. And stop doing that, because what happens is that stands in the way of you actually making progress. So go out there and just say, throw me the damn ball. I got these roller skates on. I don't know what to do. I'm going to hold on to this guardrail for a little bit. And then you let go of the guardrail. Like, okay, I'm doing it. So you guys go out there and just meet some people, shake some hands, have some conversations. And I promise you, great things will come from that. Apply what you learn in coaching, apply the scripts, apply the flow, and you'll just start to see how things start coming together. And I've watched this evolution through Keep It Moving, as I've seen people in their infancy come into these sessions, go out there and apply and take action. And I've seen these growth levels, and I'm always inspired by what you guys are able to create when you take the action. So you guys, get out there, have some fun this weekend, go create some memories, go create some, experiences with your people. I'm going to go to a couple people and get some key takeaways. And go Samantha, rapid fire, Samantha Benz. Let's hear one key takeaway from you today.
Just, if I need to hang on to the guardrail, that's fine, but throw me the damn ball. That's my takeaway.
That's right. That's right. Eventually you'll find your balance. Let's go, Janice. Let's get a key takeaway from look at it. Every time I call Janice, she has this reaction like a cartoon character. Janice, let's hear from you. One key takeaway from our time together today. Let's go. And then Jacob, you're on deck.
Oh man. I don't know, just get after it. You got an idea, go for it. Do it. Don't waste time trying to figure out how to apply it. Just apply it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, there was a time where I had never done a Zoom meeting. I'm probably 1,500, if not more, Zoom meetings. I didn't even know how to do it. But someone said, hey, we're in pandemic, this thing called pandemic. You got to do Zoom meetings. And I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. I was like, how can I connect with people on Zoom? Right? How can I have this heart and this energy with somebody on Zoom? That's not even possible. It's possible. It's possible. All right, so we figured shit out. Jacob, let's go to you, my man. Last contribution, key takeaways from our time together today. Let's go, big dog.
All right, so one thing I took away is just one thing quickly. One fun fact about me: I can't swim. So one thing I was thinking of, I was like, well, this whole real estate process, being a realtor, kind of feels like swimming because like I don't know how to do it, but I just have to like jump in and kind of like learn as I go. So it's a fun process.
Well, fortunately, you don't die in this side of it, right?
Exactly.
So, fortunately, you don't die, and you have floaties. We're your floaties. We're your help. We're your support. So, you guys, go out there and make a difference in your business. Stop thinking. Start doing. Just go and take massive action in your business, and I promise you, you'll see promising results in your business. So, you guys have an amazing weekend. As always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and have an amazing weekend. Peace.